Mr. Mayor, great to have you. Thanks for sitting down with me. Let's talk about unveiling of the locations, the first 2,000 seats for the 2K program. This is a big deal, right? So let me go through where you decided to unveil these seats and why you chose those locations.
Absolutely. So we're starting with 4 communities across New York City. That begins with Washington Heights and Inwood, then it goes to Fordham and Kingsbridge, then we're speaking about Ozone Park and the Rockaways, and then East Brooklyn, and that's a reference to Brownsville, Ocean Hill, and Canarsie. And these are going to be the first seats in what will be Universal 2K. This is a program for 2-year-olds across our city that will take what would have been more than a $20,000 expense for working families and deliver that same service for free, advancing our affordability agenda and having a transformative effect for families for decades to come.
2,000 seats within these 4 communities, right? How are you going to prioritize families who are within that 2,000?
So everyone who lives within these communities will be eligible to apply so long as their child is turning 2 this year. And that means regardless of income, occupation, immigration status, everyone can apply. And the application process is going to be sometime in the early summer. We just wanted to let families know as soon as we could, these are the neighborhoods we'll be starting with. And then 12,000 seats next year, a seat for every 2-year-old by the end of 4 years.
So music to their ears, certainly, right? But if you don't get the seat this year and you're in that community, when do you anticipate coming online for those folks as well?
Well, that's part of the ramp up that we're seeing of 2,000 this year, 12,000 next year. And then the vision that we are delivering is universal. And the importance of universal is that we know childcare is an issue for every New Yorker across the city. After housing, it's the #1 reason working families are leaving. You know, $20,000 is considered a good deal in this city for childcare, which is ridiculous. And so when we look at the most expensive city in America and we ask ourselves, what can we do to make it easier to raise a family here? This is right there at the heart of it.
Walk me through this, because our families guaranteed a spot within the community they live. You know, this big thing I hear from parents often is, great, they do this, and then I have to still travel on a bus to get to where I need to go. Are they guaranteed a spot within their community?
So with these 2,000 seats, these are seats that will be offered within these communities. The incredible part of the $1.2 billion support that the governor has given for this program is that it will be not only delivering Universal 2K, but also fixing the program for 3-year-olds. More than $100 million allocated for just that, to speak to what parents' concerns have been, so that the city can actually meet the demand of parents and of children.
And how do you I'm figuring you have a transitional process, right? You get these seats online, the 2K seats, and then you're going to transition those folks to 3K and pre-K. How do you kind of make sure there's an easy transition within the same community so you don't leave one unit and you got to travel somewhere else for the next?
Well, I think this is the part of why we want to start with fixing the pre-K and 3K, and then delivering 2K, so that once you get in, you can just continue within this system. And so families then are not anguished by how will they find money in their pockets for an expense that could push them out of the city.
The New York Post is reporting today that their city never opened 25 planned preschools. That's dating pre your administration, right? But it certainly falls into you now. So if there's a holdup on opening some of these, how can you be so confident you'll open new ones?
So what I can tell you is that these 2,000 seats are in partnership with existing childcare providers. A big part of also how we chose these communities was finding childcare providers that were able to ramp up so quickly. Because as Senator Elizabeth Warren says, childcare is infrastructure. You can't snap your fingers and everyone's ready. You have to build it so that it's durable. And that's a big part of this. The other thing is, we found with the prior administration, there were childcare centers that were ready to be opened, and for some reason were languishing for months. Just a few weeks ago, I opened one on the Upper East Side, which had been open, ready to go for months, but had simply been stuck closed. We're not going to accept that any longer.
Can you walk me through the budget? The first year of this program, the 2,000 seats, $73 million. The state says they're going to cover those costs, right? But eventually the state's going to step away from it. You're talking about a budget deficit that you're trying to close, find efficiencies. How are you able to fund this long term?
So we are incredibly excited by the state's partnership to fund this for 2 years. And frankly, we're encouraged by the commitment to have this be a part of a long-standing program, because we want this to be successful for years to come. And we know that success will be dependent also upon recurring long-standing revenues. And we're excited to continue to build that partnership to deliver exactly that.
That's, you know, I always ask you this. That's talking about taxes,
yes.
Right? So if that's the fund, the
I think the core of it is long-standing support for this program. The governor was able to secure $1.2 billion without increasing revenues for this program specifically, and we're excited at what we can look like to build with her, because it's not just a 1-year or a 2-year program. We want this to be a program that changes lives for years to come.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, I have a 3-year-old. I would have loved this when she was a 2-year-old. So I appreciate this for the new parents out there, okay? Very good.
Thank you.